your neighborhood, in your neighborhood. Say, who are the people in your neighborhood? The people that you meet each day.
Hi boys and girls, welcome to Turn the Page Tuesdays. So now that it's almost time for bed, make sure that you take care of all of those bedtime routines. Parents, now's the time to pause your device for the children to be able to go ahead and do that. Good evening, boys and girls. This evening I am here with Mr. Gall from Chester County Press. And how are you doing this evening?
Doing very well, Doctor. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. And can you tell us what you do for our Oxford community?
I am a journalist by trade and a staff writer, associate editor of the the Chester County Press, located just down the street a bit in West Grove. Okay.
And what do you do there at the press? When you say, are you a writer? Are you an editor? Do you do everything?
I'm a little bit of everything. We're a small newspaper, so therefore I write articles. I do conduct interviews with people all over the community. I edit our work. I take photographs, and I help put the newspaper and our many, many magazines together.
And so you're not actually printing the newspaper, but you're doing the writing for it. You are editing, and editing, boys and girls, is a term which will come up on the screen, and it means to make corrections, make changes to things. And I'm sure that the first time you write something is not the first time it's published.
No, we go through several edits, as we call that, in the newspaper. We try to do the best job we can to write the most accurate articles we can. So oftentimes we go back and make sure we have the correct news that you and your family will read.
Okay, great. And can you tell me, did you have to go to school to become, to work at the newspaper?
Yes, I was very interested when I was your age in newspapers and in writing. It was actually the time I was in about elementary school, and I really thought, that's really what I want to do. And I went to college to learn about journalism and writing for newspapers.
Thank you. And do you have to know how to read for your job?
Yes, absolutely need to read, learn to read for my job. I read all of the time. Even when I'm not working, I enjoy other people's writing as well. So I read newspapers, magazines, even things online.
Wonderful. Can you tell me what is the most exciting news story that you've had to cover?
Interestingly enough, probably the most exciting news story I've covered took place right here in Oxford. Several years ago, the Oxford men's basketball team was an underdog. They were not expected to go very far in their team in the season, but yet they did an exceptional job and went very far in the postseason playoff tournaments. And it was an exciting team, and I really enjoyed covering them very much.
Well, thank you for that. I do remember that. That's great. Thank you. So I hear you brought with you this evening a book. It's called The Furry News. So I can't wait to hear that story.
I can't wait to read it to all of you children.
Buenas noches. Estamos aquí hoy con el periodista señor Gaw. Él está aquí. Él es un periodista para Chester County Press, uno de los periódicos que usamos aquí en Oxford para enterarnos de lo que está pasando en la comunidad. How are you today?
Muy bien.
Está muy bien.
¿Y usted?
Muy bien, gracias. ¿Cómo está tu español?
Mucho.
En el español, pero todavía está practicando y está aprendiendo todos los días cómo comunicarse con la comunidad hispana en el periódico como periodista. Gracias y tengan unas buenas noches.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and my name is Richard Gaw. I'm with the Chester County Press, and I'm glad to spend a little time with you tonight reading The Furry News, How to Make a Newspaper, written and illustrated by Lauren Leedy. Let's begin. One morning, as the animals were eating breakfast, Big Bear rattled his newspaper impatiently. "Look at this city paper," he said. "None of the stories are about our neighborhood. We need to start a newspaper of our own." "But we don't know how, Big Bear." Big Bear said, "I'll be the publisher and get everything organized." Big Bear gave every animal a job. One gate was running the publishing department, another was running the news department, one was running features, one was running the production, one was running circulation, and the other was doing all of the advertising work. He asked Rabbit to be the news editor. "Our readers want to know what did happen, what is happening, and what will happen," he said. "Let's get started." The editor had to decide which stories to put in the newspaper. Let's see. Elections are coming up. Pollution report. There's new business in town. A flood. A scientific discovery. Here's a tip about a burglary. Rabbit, the editor, said he handed out assignments to all of his reporters. "When you write your story," Rabbit said, "remember that the most important facts are who, what, when, where, and why, and how." "No other paper has this story," one animal said. "We have the scoop." The reporters all hurried to make phone calls, ask questions, take photographs. "Where's the fire? I'm coming now," one said. Who do you think stole your nuts?" one reporter asked the squirrel. A dog said, "How do you feel about the flood?" And the duck said, "I love it." And another animal said, "I hate it." "How did the fire start?" said the reporter. "Here are the stolen nuts. Any sign of the thief?" And the dog reporter took photographs of a newborn mom and her newborn cubs. "Cheese," he said. Sometimes it was tough to get information, but the reporters kept working. "I'm a reporter. When did your tree fall?" "I'm a journalist. Can't you say anything about who?" "What will you do if you're elected mayor again?" "I'll keep everything just the way it is because it's great," the mayor said. "Who invented what?" "A deodorizer for skunks." "When will your toy factory open?" another reporter asked. "As soon as we hire enough workers." Another reporter asked, "What will you do if you are elected mayor?" The alligator said, "I'll change everything because it's terrible." "Why are you leaving?" said the skunk reporter. "Well, we have no choice," the river rat said. "The river is too dirty to live in." Each reporter gathered all of the facts, checked to make sure that they were true, and then all of them started writing. Rabbit read each news article and suggested changes. Editing. "This is good," the rabbit said, "but can you make the lead more interesting?" "This has to be longer," he said to another reporter. "Please hurry, everybody, we have a deadline." Next, Rabbit wrote an exciting headline for each story. She also wrote an editorial. Her opinion was about a news story. Big Bear asked Fox to be the features editor. Features are anything in the newspaper other than news and advertising. All of the reporters got their assignments from the Fox, the editor. They wrote features about movies and television and books and theater and music and art, festivals, food, fashion, parties, personalities, sports, and whatever else readers would want to know. The animals created games and comics for their readers to enjoy. And they also sold space in the newspaper for advertisements. The words were set in columns of type, and paste-up began. The news articles, features, and ads all fit together like pieces of a puzzle. The newspaper was almost ready to be printed. The animals checked again to make sure that there were no mistakes. They hurried to finish on time. The printer made many copies of the newspaper. They were delivered right away so everyone could read the furry news. In this book, there's also information about how to make your own newspaper. Thank you very much for allowing me to read this story to you. Again, my name is Richard Gaw, and I'm with the Chester County Press, and this is a wonderful book that tells and describes how a newspaper is actually put together. Thank you, and good night.
I hope you enjoyed that book by our special guest. Now it's time for bed. Good night, everyone. We'll see you in the morning.